My brothers and sisters, have you ever wondered why some people do so little, yet their lives overflow with peace, success, and blessings, while others work endlessly but still feel empty and stuck? The answer is hidden in a time that most of us ignore. A time when angels fill the skies, when Allah opens the doors of rizq, and when the believer's dua pierces through the heavens. That secret time is the morning. My dear brothers and sisters, every sunrise brings a divine invitation, an opportunity to step into barakah, the unseen blessing that transforms ordinary lives into extraordinary ones. But here's the truth. Most people sleep through the moment that could change their entire destiny. They rush into the day without Fajr, without Qur'an, without remembrance, and then they wonder why the day feels heavy, unproductive, and hollow. The Prophet Muhammad revealed this secret long ago when he said, "O Allah, bless my ummah in their early mornings. The morning is not just another part of the day. It is the foundation of your rizq, your peace, and your spiritual strength. Whoever owns the morning owns the day. Whoever wastes it loses more than time. They lose divine blessing." In this message, I will uncover how the early hours of dawn hold the key to unlocking your success, tranquility, and divine connection. And by the end, you will not only understand the secret of morning barakah, but you'll feel inspired to rise tomorrow with a renewed purpose and heart full of light. It is Allah's way of giving you a fresh page, free of yesterday's stains, where you can begin again with sincerity and devotion. But this gift, my dear brothers and sisters, is often unwrapped only by the few, those who understand its value. While the world sleeps, the chosen ones rise. They wash their hands, purify their hearts, and stand before their Lord while the rest of the world is silent. In those peaceful hours, the believer finds what no amount of wealth can give: tranquility, focus, and connection. They know that Fajr is not a burden, it is an invitation. They realize that the early hours of the day are not just meant for work, but for worship. The Prophet didn't just pray at dawn, he began his entire life's mission from it. He understood that the strength of one's day flows from the purity of one's morning. When you rise early and begin your day with Allah's remembrance, you are aligning yourself with divine order. The angels of mercy descend during Fajr, and they bear witness to the remembrance of those who rise for prayer. Imagine being counted among those whose names are written by the angels at dawn, those whom Allah honors with his light. The Prophet said, "The 2 rakahs of Fajr are better than this world and all it contains." Think about that for a moment. 2 simple units of prayer offered in the quiet of dawn outweigh every material thing this world has to offer. That is the power of the morning. That is the magnitude of its barakah. Those who neglect the morning don't just lose a few hours of the day. They lose the chance to receive the secret blessings hidden in those moments. They wonder why their day feels dull, why their hearts feel restless, why time slips through their fingers. It's because the day that begins without the name of Allah carries no spiritual fragrance. The world becomes heavy when the morning is wasted. The Prophet made dua for barakah in the early hours for a reason, because everything that begins with Allah will end with success. My dear brothers and sisters, the morning is not just a time, it is a test. It asks, who loves Allah enough to rise when the world sleeps? Those who answer that call discover that their entire life begins to change. Their hearts are lighter, their minds clearer, their rizq flows with ease, and their souls are content. Because barakah is not about having more, it's about having enough with peace. It's about feeling Allah's presence in every moment, knowing that He is guiding your steps. So the next time the dawn calls you, don't ignore it. Don't trade the priceless gift of morning for another hour of sleep. Rise, even if your body resists. Pray, even if your eyes are heavy. Remember Allah, even if the world around you is silent. Because when you honor the morning, Allah will honor your entire day. The morning is your gift. Unwrap it before it's gone. The Messenger of Allah knew something about mornings that most of us overlook today. We miss Fajr, we rush our mornings, and then we wonder why our lives feel rushed and unfulfilled. The problem is not the world, it's our disconnection from the sunnah. We've lost the morning, and with it we've lost barakah. The Prophet once saw his daughter Fatima sleeping after sunrise and gently awakened her, reminding her not to miss the hour of risk. This was not a matter of discipline alone. It was about protecting her from losing divine blessing. Because the angels distribute sustenance and decree barakah in those hours, and whoever sleeps through them deprives themselves of Allah's generosity. To rise early then is to live as the Prophet lived. It is to say to Allah, Ya Rab, I want to start my day with you. It's not just about praying Fajr mechanically, but about embracing the mindset of a believer who values time as a gift. Every morning that begins with worship carries a fragrance of serenity that lasts throughout the day. Your plans flow smoother, your words carry wisdom, your heart feels lighter, because the Prophet's dua echoes over your efforts. The Ummah was promised barakah in its mornings, and that promise still stands for anyone who honors that time. Think of how the companions treated the morning. They would pray Fajr, sit in dhikr, and then begin their work early. Traders opened their shops after sunrise, farmers started their labor, students began their learning, all under the umbrella of barakah. They understood that to be blessed in the day, one must begin it in the way of the Prophet. Look at the companions of the Prophet. They never treated the morning lightly. They would rise before dawn, pray, and begin their day early. Their bodies were tired, but their hearts were alive. They understood that every time they rose for Fajr, Allah raised their rank. They saw the world differently, not through the lens of sleep or comfort, but through faith and purpose. And because they valued the morning, Allah placed victory and success in their lives. Their barakah was not in their strength or numbers, but in their obedience. On the other hand, when a believer repeatedly neglects the morning, darkness begins to cover his life gradually. The sweetness of salah fades. Dua feels distant, and the Qur'an feels heavy on the tongue. This is not because Allah withholds mercy, but because the believer himself has turned away from the time of mercy. A day without remembrance is like a body without a soul. It moves, but it has no life. The Prophet warned us of this when he said, "The most burdensome prayers for the hypocrites are Isha and Fajr." Neglecting Fajr is not just laziness, it's a sign that the heart is losing its sensitivity to the call of Allah. And when that happens, one must repent and return quickly before the heart becomes completely hardened. If your mornings have been lost, know that it is not too late. The door of repentance is still open, and the Lord of mercy is still waiting. Begin again, one Fajr at a time. Sleep early, prepare your wudu, and ask Allah to give you the strength to rise. Even if you fail at first, keep trying. For every effort you make to catch the morning, Allah multiplies your reward. Remember, those who value the morning are chosen by Allah, and those who ignore it deprive themselves of His gifts. When you rise for Fajr, you're not just winning a battle against sleep, you're winning a battle for your soul. And when you begin your day in obedience, Allah will write peace, barakah, and success in everything you do. Barakah is one of the most beautiful and mysterious gifts that Allah places in the lives of His servants. It is the unseen power that multiplies what seems small, that makes limited time feel abundant, and that turns ordinary efforts into extraordinary results. You may see two people doing the same work, spending the same hours, yet one of them achieves so much more with peace and ease. That is the difference that barakah makes. It is not something you can buy or measure because barakah comes only from Allah. It is His divine favor that fills your life with harmony, direction, and quiet success. And the morning, my brothers and sisters, is the fountain from which this blessing flows. Whoever values the morning gains barakah in his entire day, but whoever wastes it finds the world working against him. The Prophet understood the true nature of barakah, which is why he prayed for his ummah to be blessed in their mornings. That dua was not just for the companions, it was for every believer who strives to live by his sunnah. So stay till the end, because what you're about to discover can truly change the rhythm of your life. From chaos to calm, from struggle to blessing. The morning is not just a moment of light breaking through the darkness. It is a divine message written by the hand of Allah Himself. Every morning that you open your eyes is not a random event. It is Allah saying to you, I have given you another chance to start again. Each sunrise is a silent mercy, a whisper from your Creator reminding you that your story is not over, that your purpose is not yet complete. The morning is not merely time on the clock. It is a divine gift, a sacred opportunity to reconnect, to reset, and to remember the one who blessed you with another day of life. When the first light of dawn spreads across the horizon, it is not just the sun that rises, it is your soul that is invited to rise with it. Allah could have made life eternal without night and day, but He chose to divide time into cycles to give you a daily reminder that after every darkness comes light. The morning symbolizes hope, renewal, and awakening. It is as if Allah is saying, no matter how heavy your night was, my mercy returns with every dawn. The Qur'an reminds us. And it is He who makes the night and the day in succession for whoever desires to remember or desires gratitude. Surah Al-Furqan 25:62. The morning then is a call to remembrance, a call to gratitude. He understood that those early hours were not ordinary. They carried divine power, unseen blessings, and heavenly secrets that shape the rest of one's day. That is why he made a special dua for his ummah, saying, Allahumma barik li ummati fi bukuriha, which means, O Allah, bless my nation in their early mornings. This single supplication should shake our hearts because it reveals how deeply the Prophet wanted us to live with barakah, not just in our wealth or time, but in our very souls. The early morning, therefore, is not merely a convenient time to work. It is a sacred sunnah, a moment when the heavens open and mercy flows freely upon those who rise to remember their Lord. When we study the life of the Prophet, we see that he lived by this principle. He would begin his day early, long before the sun had fully risen. After praying Fajr, he would remain seated in remembrance of Allah until sunrise, his heart connected to the divine. His companions followed his example. They began their days with worship, reflection, and work because they understood something essential. Barakah lives where the sunnah is practiced. Every time we imitate the lifestyle of the Prophet, we are not just following tradition, we are aligning ourselves with divine rhythm. The Prophet's dua for barakah is like a door, and waking early is the key that opens it. Yet, in our time, we have reversed this rhythm. We stay up deep into the night and sleep through the most blessed hours of the day. Their productivity, their victories, and their contentment were not the result of worldly strategy, but of divine assistance. They didn't just wake up early, they woke up with purpose. Today, when someone follows this sunnah, they notice a shift in their life. They find that their time stretches, their efforts yield more results, and their hearts feel calmer. This is not coincidence, it's the fulfillment of the Prophet's dua. Allah places His hand of mercy over the one who begins their day in obedience. It's as though the entire universe cooperates with you when you align your life with the sunnah. Even your worries feel lighter because the morning connects you directly to the source of strength, Allah Himself. So my dear brothers and sisters, remember that the dua of the Prophet is alive for those who live by it. Don't let your mornings slip away in heedlessness. Wake with the call of Fajr, pray, make dhikr, seek knowledge, or start your work with Bismillah. Let the first light of dawn find you awake, engaged, and grateful. Because when you follow the sunnah of the morning, you are walking under the shadow of the Prophet's blessing. And when you begin your day as he did, Allah will bless your time, your effort, your family, and your heart with the secret of morning barakah. True productivity in Islam does not begin with a to-do list, a business plan, or the rush of the world. It begins in the stillness before sunrise, when the world is quiet and hearts are closest to their Creator. The early hours of the morning are not ordinary. They are sacred, filled with unseen mercy and divine presence. The believer who rises in these hours understands that success is not measured by how much he does, but by how much Allah blesses his doing. The greatest form of productivity begins not with work, but with worship. When the day begins with Fajr, with the recitation of Qur'an, with dhikr and reflection, it takes on a different color. It becomes a day led by the heart, not by haste. There is something deeply spiritual about the calm of the early morning. The air feels purer, the mind is free from distraction, and the soul is ready to absorb light. Allah designed the morning this way as a time of purity and clarity, when our hearts are most capable of reflection. When a believer uses those moments to stand in prayer, to seek forgiveness, or to whisper dua, he is building a foundation for the rest of the day. Every success that follows is built upon that secret conversation between him and his Lord. The Qur'an itself highlights the importance of this time, saying, "Indeed, the recitation of the Qur'an at dawn is ever witnessed." Surah Al-Isra 1778. The angels bear witness to your worship at dawn, recording every word of remembrance, every verse recited, and every tear shed. That is spiritual productivity, to fill your unseen record with deeds that will echo in eternity. Those who replace this sacred time with sleep or distraction often find their days filled with anxiety, confusion, and delay. They work tirelessly but feel no progress, speak endlessly but see no results. Their bodies move, but their spirits are drained. Why? Because they miss the chance to anchor their day in the remembrance of Allah. Without that anchor, the heart drifts. The day becomes just another repetition of the last. Effort without direction, motion without blessing. A day that starts without Allah rarely ends with peace. When a believer starts his day after Fajr, reading Qur'an and making dua, he is not only nourishing his soul but inviting barakah into every aspect of his life. His mind becomes sharper, his thoughts clearer, and his heart more content. He finds ease in his work, even in tasks that once seemed difficult. That ease is not the result of his skill alone. It is Allah's reward for beginning the day with his remembrance. One page of Qur'an read in the morning carries more light than 100 pages read in haste later in the day. One sincere dua made at dawn can open doors that effort alone could never unlock. This is why the scholars and righteous people of the past guarded their mornings with jealousy. They would say, "Whoever loses his morning has lost his day." They understood that the hours after Fajr are not just for prayer, but for spiritual growth, learning, and reflection. Many would sit in dhikr until sunrise, then begin their daily work. Their bodies were active in the world, but their hearts remained connected to Allah. That is the secret balance Islam teaches, to live in the world while staying anchored to the divine. If we want true productivity, the kind that fills both this world and the next with meaning, we must reclaim our mornings. Rise early, even if your body resists. Pray Fajr on time. Read a few verses of Qur'an, no matter how small. Reflect on Allah's favors, make dua for guidance, and begin your day in gratitude. When your first act is worship, your entire day becomes an act of service. The heart that remembers Allah at dawn carries that remembrance into every task and every conversation. The morning gives your spirit direction, and with direction comes focus, peace, and success. So, my dear brothers and sisters, if you wish for your life to have clarity and power, begin at dawn. Let your first step of the day be toward Allah, and watch how He blesses the steps that follow. Spiritual productivity begins not when the sun rises, but when your heart does. When a believer turns away from the morning, he turns away from one of the greatest doors of mercy that Allah opens each day. Neglecting the early hours is not a small matter. It is a silent thief that steals more than time. It steals barakah, clarity, and the sweetness of faith. When a person sleeps through Fajr or wakes up late without remembering Allah, he doesn't just lose a prayer, he loses the foundation of his day. The Prophet said that the shaitan ties 3 knots at the back of one's head during the night, whispering, "Sleep, the night is long." But when a person wakes and remembers Allah, 1 knot is untied. When he performs wudu, the second is released. And when he prays, all knots are removed, and he rises fresh and energized. But for the one who sleeps through Fajr, those knots remain. He wakes heavy, restless, and spiritually clouded because the day began without light. My dear brothers and sisters, every day begins with a test. Will you rise for your Lord, or will you rise for your desires? When we choose sleep over salah, comfort over connection, we begin our day in loss. A believer's power is not in his wealth or position, but in his relationship with Allah. When that connection is neglected at the start of the day, the heart becomes dry. You may achieve many things outwardly, but inwardly you will feel empty. The eyes may open, but the soul remains asleep. The barakah that could have made your day productive and peaceful becomes distant. Life feels like a constant chase with no satisfaction because you started your journey without the one who controls its path. Neglecting the morning means neglecting the invitation that Allah gives to every believer each dawn. The Qur'an says, "And establish prayer at the two ends of the day and at the approach of the night. Indeed, good deeds do away with misdeeds." Hud 11:11. Fajr is not just a prayer. It is a shield that protects your heart from the sins and distractions that will try to consume you later. When that shield is missing, the whispers of Shaitan grow stronger and the struggles of the day weigh heavier. You may feel anxiety, laziness, or frustration, not realizing that the cause lies in missing the blessing that would have carried you through it. When Allah puts barakah in your time, your work yields more benefit, your words carry more weight, and your efforts are guided to the right outcomes. You may work less but achieve more. You may earn little but feel content. You may walk a long path, yet your heart feels light. That is the mark of divine blessing. Barakah transforms effort into grace and struggle into peace. Think of barakah as the wind that fills the sails of your life. You may build the boat, plan your course, and row with all your strength, but without that wind, you will struggle endlessly. Barakah is that unseen help that propels you forward effortlessly when Allah is pleased with you. It comes when you seek Him first, when you put His remembrance above your worldly distractions, and when you honor the times He has honored, especially the morning. A person who begins his day with prayer, dhikr, and gratitude is not merely starting early, he is aligning himself with the flow of divine mercy. Everything he touches that day carries a hidden ease because it began with the name of Allah. The absence of barakah, on the other hand, is one of the greatest hardships a believer can face. You may have wealth, but it slips through your hands. You may have time, but it disappears without meaning. You may have opportunities, but none seem to bring peace. That emptiness is not from a lack of effort. It's from the lack of blessing. When Allah removes barakah, even abundance feels scarce. The heart becomes restless, the mind distracted, and the body exhausted. But when Allah grants barakah, every moment becomes fruitful. Every breath becomes worship, and every effort becomes a source of reward. The secret to attracting barakah lies in sincerity, remembrance, and obedience. It is to give the rights of Allah before seeking the rights of the world. The early hours after Fajr are the seedbed of this blessing. When you use them for Qur'an, for reflection, for seeking knowledge, or serving your family with a pure intention, Allah expands your time. You begin to notice that what once felt impossible becomes manageable, that what once burdened your heart now feels light. This is the subtle power of barakah. It brings ease without changing the circumstances. Our Prophet taught us that barakah can be found in small, simple acts. Eating together brings barakah in food, giving charity brings barakah in wealth, and starting early brings barakah in time. It is as though Allah is saying to His servants, when you live with gratitude and discipline, I will place my unseen blessing in your life. The morning is the best moment to seek that gift because it sets the tone for everything that follows. The angels who witnessed your Fajr carry your name upward, and the world begins to open in your favor. So, my dear brothers and sisters, if you feel your days are heavy and your efforts unrewarded, seek barakah where the Prophet promised it, in the early hours. Start your mornings with the remembrance of Allah, and you will see His hand guiding you throughout the day. Do not chase the world while neglecting the one who controls it. Chase the pleasure of Allah at dawn, and the world will come running toward you. Barakah is not found in quantity but in divine connection, and whoever finds it will never feel poor again. When Allah blesses your mornings, He blesses your entire life. Would you like me to now write the conclusion of the entire preaching message in the same emotionally powerful and Islamic tone?